Miatavashana se Iliama Aliaza Kisha. Moliana itavaso sumoso liana ki laviasha liata. Amorahula eleavasomea aleke so somasetiala. Meavasho ina tiavakoa. Lavaso siala liata kiashana siala koa.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzasav v'tzivanu l'ad l'kner shel Shabbos.
Miasotoshi shianate ilaka alasa tiasha. Good day, good love, good light. Illuminators, way showers, angels, ancestors, guardians of Gaia, all of our teams, all of our guides are here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Happy Goddess Friday. As we today, I'm Wendy and Dave here as we share with you the divine energies of the God and Goddess, helping to share with all of you how everything's connected, how exploring our multidimensionality through oracles, crystals, incense, lighting candles, how everything's connected, how we are part of all that is part of all of us, and how as we explore our own multidimensionality, we expand all that is, and we expand the experience of all of you, of all of us, of our guides. We expand all that is by sharing our experiences. And so we have been inspired to share with all of you and invite all of you to share with us through artifacts, relics, through your interest in the oracle, in crystals, in even your ET experiences, your multidimensional experiences. And of course, this is the languages of lights. And really the message is that everything, as my guides, Emily, the emissaries of the Light Collective, and the Elohim have said to me, we are all reflections of light. We are all living light. We are all speaking a universal verse in the symphony of source. We are all part of this multidimensional song that each of us sings by our experience, by sharing our experience with all that is. For source is all of us having dreams. Source is dreaming through us. It is having its experiences through us. It's exploring and expanding its own, all that is having its experience through all of us. And then together we share all of this together with all of you, because if everything's connected, then all of us have access to all of these things. And we, Dave and I, like to share with all of you how not only in our daily lives, but how all of us can use frequency, sound, light languages, oracle information, crystals, relics to connect with our multidimensionality, to help us navigate this ascension process, to help us become aware of all that we are. And instead of us thinking that we have to become something, it's really about becoming aware of all that we already are and embracing that, expressing it, and how through smell, sound, scent, sight, all of these, when we, and the messages that come through our animal spirit guides, which is one of the things we wanted to explore today with all of you. And being that we're coming off Earth Day this week, and we're not too far from the equinox, the spring equinox. And so today felt like I really felt this connection to Gaia, to the earth, to the animal collective spirits all week. And so today is really more dedicated to how do our animal guides help us. And I was even inspired by a question this week from AJ about what is an animal spirit? What are animal guides? What's the difference? And so one of the things that I was interested in was exploring today was about our animal guides and how they help us, how these archetypes, animal archetypes, play a part in our lives, how they play a part in even our own astrology, how they choose who we are and what archetypal energies we want to express in the world. And so today, Dave's got his peacock shirt on today. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I've got these beautiful butterfly wings here. And I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but so this is another way of reminding us that we're transforming like butterflies. And this, all of this, what we're all going through right now, whether it's ascension, first contact, what's going on in the globally, it's all about transformation. All of this, all that is that we're experiencing is all about self-transformation, self-exploration. How do we transform and connect with other aspects of ourselves, other dimensional beings, inner healing, the sound within us. And we were talking this week about the clairs, how when we are tapping into these things like flowers and colors and smells, and when we're tapping into these things, we're literally connecting with other beings and energies that are connecting with these frequencies as well. And they help us expand and explore more and more of that we are. And it helps us to connect with other star beings, other star systems. Why is it that we're so interested in smelling flowers? I don't know if you guys can see back here, there's a rose behind me here that fresh flowers, smelling flowers, the colors. How do colors and the sense of color, the scent of flowers, how do these invoke connection? And today is 4/24. So welcome everybody to April 24th, 2020. And this day is a day of that equals 14. And to the sacred symbol that brought to us from Sirius through Bashar, through Daryl Anka. And he's Bashar and family and Epsilon, Epiphany, Eclipse, the oversoul energy of the Essassani people, Essassani the planet, Shikani, as they now call themselves. All of these help us connect with all of these aspects of ourselves and our star families. And so as if you're not new to my channel, you've seen that I've shared these symbols throughout the years that I've been on YouTube, because it's been something that has been a tool for me, a permission slip to help me connect with my own Sassani family, my Sirius star system family. I also was reminded to thank my star sister out there for providing me with this gift of the Sassani crest, these symbol, the family symbol to connect with. This is the sacred crystal. I always forget what it's called. This is the crystal to connect with the Sassani family, and that is the part of we are their ancestors. We are their guides, if you will. And we're learning from them, but I was also reminded that we taught them as well. So some of the symbols that they brought through, number 14 is connect. And there's number 14. And I asked Dave to translate these in the number for the 14 into Hebrew and the word connect into Hebrew, along with this to enhance the vibration of that energy. And also, if we add 14, it's equals 5, which is prepare. I'll show you the one for prepare. So I've been feeling, and we've talked about this too, that we can look at this either way. And I've been receiving the message about connecting to prepare. And I have often heard in other meditations, preparing to connect. But in these, for some reason, these last few weeks, it's been more of a feeling of we're connecting in order to prepare for expansion, transformation, first contact, understanding the connection to the starships, our star families, the hybrid children. They've been very present in our awareness as well. And how do our animals help us connect to that? How do the flowers and essences connect to that? So all of these things are things that we like to share on Fridays. We invite all of you to attend here if you'd like. You can find the link to the Zoom room here on my website, languagesoflights.com. And the link to that is posted in the comments section if you'd like to come in the Zoom room and join us. We invite everybody to share your costumes, bring your relics, share your crystals, your information, your experiences, your light languages. All of these help us connect and activate within us these multidimensional aspects of ourselves that help us connect to more and more of all that we are, and to each other, our star families. So thank you, Dave, for always helping me and joining in these events with me and helping me bring more and more information out and empowering me to be as multidimensional as I can to be a better antenna. And we understand how crucial it is connecting with nature and tea and the things that we've shared about even just the way we drink tea and how connecting with the tea itself, because it's plants, and connecting with Gaia that way and feeling this intimate connection with Gaia. And the intimate even connection with, we were talking about when grocery shopping, how I feel so excited and abundant when you see all the wonderful colors and all of this, even apple juice. I was thinking this morning as I was drinking my apple juice about how it helps us connect to the trees and the apple tree, and how as Dave does the blessings at night in Hebrew, and I do light language blessings at night at dinner, and thanking each individual thing, the apples and the trees and the cows and whatever's present on the plate. And so to show, to be intentional and reverent to Gaia, to remember that Earth Day is every day, and that we really, it shouldn't take one day of the year, although think of the energy that we're all putting out in that one day a year, where we're sending our love and our appreciation to Gaia, and planting trees and adding oxygen and reminding ourselves that the trees breathe what we breathe and we breathe what they breathe, and without each other we really couldn't exist. So how we, in reverence to all of this with incense, and I wanted to show you guys too, I've done this a few times on my channel, but I wanted to share with you too. This is the rose essential oil. And so I make my own, and with the oil and water. And I didn't even share this with you, but I got this guidance from one of the hybrid children that's been visiting lately. And she said to me, solar water. And it's just something that I do anyway, kind of on purpose, where I leave my water sitting outside, either on the table or so it collects sunshine and light codes from the sun, which also there's information and data, energy information, and ascension activations within the sunlight. So of course we realize that. And so they said to me, they use the word solar water, and to let my water sit out in the sunshine and then use that with the essential oils for the spray. So this is something I just wanted to share with you guys that I pretty much use every day. And basically that's all it is the essential oil and water, and mixing it together and just using it on my body, in the air. And I just love the smell of roses, and the roses is a collective of the flower. I am hearing flower empire, because they're the kings and queens of the the flower empire. And so the roses actually help, and other flower varieties help us connect with our star families, our soul families, the shamanic energy within us, the ability to activate the shaman within us, meaning the ability to collect and connect to multidimensional, higher information, because it's the ability to process information and see things from perspectives that we cannot now, simply by remembering what's old is new, what's new is old, that even our native peoples understood. You could talk to the elements, the clouds, the sky, the sun, and embed this information into our water. Water, of course, is programmable with love and And so there's all these things that we can put into the light codes, which I've talked about, even making sun tea, you guys, making sun tea, putting your tea bags in the sunshine and asking for the information, collecting and using that information as activation data to absorb and help us be more informed, better antenna for receiving more higher dimensional higher dimensional information, but to apply it here, to bring it where we can apply it in our everyday lives. How can it help us by connecting to other things? How can it help us to connect to, how can it help us make better decisions? How can it make us know ourselves, love ourselves, practice more self-love, self-nurturing? So by all of these, it's all connected. And so one of the things that we love pointing out is the ability to connect to these things, utilizing these other tools. Sorry guys.
I was going, so Lisa had asked about the phone number for the Zoom room. So I clicked on the Zoom link thinking it would show me the phone number. And of course I'm already signed in.
Brought
me in. And oddly, it does not let you lower the volume to 0.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry guys. So in general, in the Zoom link, there's a phone number that if you want to, you can just call in, where you're just calling in on your phone. Otherwise, of course, the Zoom link brings you right into the room, and then we can bring you into the room as a participant. So the phone number is designed, if you don't have, or if you can only come in on your phone, to dial that number, and you can actually come into the room and ask questions, and we can hear you, and you can talk. You can talk and we can hear you. It's just in the event you don't have audio or video. Otherwise, the link itself, the Zoom room link, will bring you right into the room, and then we can see that you're in the room, and then we can add you in. So just wanted to let you know that. So
yeah, I don't know. I think probably there's a meeting ID, which is as part of the link. But I think if you go to the Zoom website, it'll tell you how to just dial in with any regular phone.
Oh, there's Florentine. Okay, good. Hi, how are you? Hi, Florentine. It's so good to see you. Gosh, I think this is the first time. I think this is the first time you've come in. That's very exciting. Hi. Just let me know if you guys want to say anything when you come in. You can raise your hand, or just let it, or type in the chat. At the very bottom of the screen, you'll see that there's a little chat box. It says chat, and you can click on that, and you can actually chat with us inside the room and with other attendees. So I wanted to say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody, for watching. Thank you. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Jody. Hey, Jody, come on in if you want. And hey, everybody. I just wanted to say hi. Hey, Dramatic Love, Belinda. Hey, Blue Star. Hey, how are you, Florentine? Also, she says, this is interesting because Florentine says, hey, she says, I have a Panther animal spirit guide and a Lyran guide who is a black jaguar. And actually, Dave just told me about an experience he had. Was it a black Panther? Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure Panther.
So very interesting with that too. Was that a meditation that a guide came to you? When did that happen?
Well, the Black Panther just came to me and then started showing up in meditations from time to time.
And this is one of the things that I wanted to bring up about animal guides, is that something that you had said when you were telling me the story. It was about how a guide can come to us. How did you say that? As an animal. The guide itself can actually transform itself into an animal,
or any animal, or anything. And sometimes it might really be a person, but they're showing themselves as an animal. And until such time as maybe you are ready for more of a person kind of interaction.
Yes.
And then they might transform into a person. It's probably more comfortable for the average person that feels guides around them to feel the animal in the backyard or sitting next to them than a guy or a girl sitting on the couch next to you.
And they will often appear to us as as in general, butterflies that fly around, they're the blue jays, they're everybody. For me, I say everybody, they're all messengers. And so I actually put a link to just one of the websites that I Googled about the difference between animal spirit guides and animal totems. Which ones are the ones that just appear to us when there's only messages right now, which ones are with us all the time. So these are one of the things that I like to explore, and I invite all of you to explore on your own too, is to read about the difference between them. And because it helps us remind us when we're out and about doing our everyday stuff, even if you see, for example, I wanted to share, if you see something, know that it's a message for you, even if it's something that comes to your mind, a vision of an animal. And I have the deck from the Messages from Your Spirit Animal Guides by Stephen Farmer. So I want to show the front of the book to you guys. And the back of the card was that a blue heron, I think? Mm-hmm. But it was funny because we were going through some things and Dave uses emu oil. And what do you use it for? Tell everybody what you use it for.
Muscle soreness mostly, but
and it works really well.
It's also a good substance to allow other oils or essential oils to absorb into your body.
So it's a good carrier oil. And that was one of the things I wanted to point out, was this is a good carrier oil, to where when they call it carrier oil, basically all that means is you have an oil that you can use to spread the few drops. And usually I just put a couple of drops of the essential oil on my hand and then actually use the carrier oil, meaning, like coconut oil or any type of other oil, but in this case, the emu oil, and utilize the benefits of the essential oil along with the emu oil. So it was funny because I was guided to my animal spirit cards and it just happened to have the emu card. So in the emu card, it says, and I think, and these oracle messages, if you're watching, if you're listening, it doesn't matter when you're watching this, these messages are for all of us. So I was guided to look up the emu card and it said, this is a good time to go on a new adventure. So that's a good message for all of us. This is a good time to go on a new adventure. And it doesn't mean, and it doesn't mean you have to leave the house. Now, this is something too that I just wanted to kind of touch on just a little bit, is we don't need to leave our house or our minds to go on a new adventure. Dave and I go on new adventures every single day by just exploring and talking, and it opens up doors, it opens up windows, it opens up information about each other and ourselves and our experiences, and we find all of these interesting threads just by having these conversations. And so even, and it's even, I'm even hearing too, like even the emu oil and the essential oils, all of these help us explore these things. And I even have a couple of friends who I've actually had friends who actually had emus as pets, or well, I don't know if you want to call them pets, but so, and the interesting thing too, you guys, is the colors of this card is the green and the blue, and little purple in the background. And the candle colors that I was guided to use today in reverence to Earth and Mother Earth were green and blue and yellow. So the color of the green and the blue of the earth and the yellow of the sun. So, and the idea of transformation and butterflies. And so the idea of connecting with the earth and the earth things. And so the emu is, and so I was, and it actually works really well, you guys. The emu oil works so well on muscle soreness. And so we were reminded once again that we really do have everything we need on this planet. And maybe we just haven't explored everything yet. And maybe some of you aren't aware of emu oil and maybe you will be now. And so this is another way to, and talking about going on a new adventure, we have these new adventures every day just by exploring our multidimensionality, talking about the relics that we're collecting, exploring symbols, things that we just come up in conversation that takes us on a new adventure. Sleeping in the teepee. We actually have a little teepee, and it's just like it. I don't know if it's because of the shape of it or what it is, the intention behind it, because of our intention behind it. But this teepee, I'm telling you, it's like going into a vortex. And so it literally is its own little adventure. And it's called, we would call it teepee time, you know, because it's like, I don't know, it's like going to a whole nother place or something. It's hard to explain, but so it may seem silly, but these are the things that we're talking about inviting in relics. How many times when we were kids did we love making forts in the house with, like, you know, the furniture and sheets and blankets, and because it's fun. Buying a little fire pit, you know, we got a little fire pit that I think we're going to initiate tonight. So it's the little things, the burning of the candles, the intention behind it, the incense, which again, I actually started to light earlier, and this incense burner is so cool. I love this thing. So I actually forgot to light the incense, but because that's something that, again, we do every day. We light incense pretty much as soon as we get up in the morning. That's one of the first things we do. And the altar, it has the incense on it. So because we're, and made of acacia wood, because that's what we were guided to through exploration of, wow, we're looking up incense and we find out, oh, it's really a connection to opening, the connection to God, it said, and then to store it properly, to you know, put it on acacia wood, store it on it. And so one thing led to another, and we started actually looking up things about acacia wood and started bringing acacia wood items into the house to just to magnify
as a permission slip,
that energy,
to help proliferate
and connect to that energies. And even to the tree itself. I feel like when we're using the dishes that are made of it, it's almost, I feel as if it's having this connection to the food, and it's showing the reverence to the tree itself, and allowing literally the magic that from the tree itself to come into our homes, into our cells, literally our cells. And I'm reminded, if you look at the shape of this, I'm reminded again, you guys, it's really, you can't see through it. It's because it is actually translucent, this crystal. But, and you can purchase this at bashar.org. I forgot to tell you guys, as a permission slip to connect to their energy. But what I wanted to point out was that it's a hexagon, which is the inside of the Star of David. So this is something that is a whole nother idea of geometry, sacred geometry, how connecting to the hexagon itself, how even when you and I were talking about the Shikani and the Sasani today, I was reminded that all we have to do is look at remember the phone number. You guys were talking about phone number earlier. The phone number to connect to them is simply the black triangle with the blue surrounding it and a black background. All we have to do is focus on that image and we become connected to that energy. Hey, everybody. Hey, Florentine. Hey, hey, Starfish. Hey, Ivy. Good to see you guys. So it's the idea of sacred geometry connecting to the symbols, and their family crest is actually a triangle with a spiral inside of it, which is actually what's inside of here. I'd have to take it off for you guys to be able to actually see through it, because you can actually see through the crystal. But this was my way of connecting to that energy. And Dave was even asking about how do we connect with their energy? How are they connected to the earth? And I was told very early on when I found Bashar, and he was discussing their trinary oversoul collective energy of Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse, which are 3 crystal spheres. I think they're 1,100 feet in diameter or something. I wrote it down in my book. Actually, I don't have it in front of me, but and how they amplify the energy of the Sirius star system, which are their mentors and also ours, helping us understand geometry and the pyramids. And well, I'm even hearing, well, I'll get into that in a minute because I'll just go off in a different direction. But so to be able to connect with sacred geometry, and how do they connect to us through these, through the light of this energy is amplified through our moonlight. So right now I'm reminded that we're in the new moon. And so today, well, last night, I think in the last couple of nights now, we were in the dark of the moon. So as the moon energy starts, as the moonlight, Bashar explained that the moonlight is amplifying the energies from the Sirius star system, and from their epsilon epiphany and eclipse, their oversoul trinary energy is amplifying that in the moonlight and actually bringing it down to Earth in order to help us connect with that Sirius star system and that information. So, and I'm getting a tone in my ear right now. And so when we connect with the sacred geometry and realizing that the Star of David itself is two triangles, one on top of the other inverted. And when you see the center, it's actually a hexagon and then surrounded by 6 triangles. And of course it's 6 points. And so that in itself, when we recognize these things, and that it's also a representation of our Merkaba, the 2 triangles inverted one on top of the other and spinning, which even reminds me of that's how the Tesla coil works. And that, so all of this is just feeds into one thing into the next. But so this is a good time to go on a new adventure, reminding us again, we don't have to leave the house to go on a new adventure. We can go on new adventures just sharing this information with each other. So, and then the next card that actually came up was the peacock card. Let yourself stand out and be noticed. And so I had to laugh at that, of course, because, and I also have a peacock shirt. So, and there's, we've been doing and will be doing more of Cup of Inspiration, where, you know, just kind of doing impromptu oracle readings, you know, with our coffee and our peacock shirts. So, but to remind us all to stand out and be noticed. This is a time when we all came here to stand out and be noticed. And so, and again, the blue, look at that, you guys, blue and green and yellow, blue, green, yellow. So all the 3 colors, and of course the peacock blue, and one of my favorite colors, and even my dress kind of has a peacock blue color. So I absolutely love it. And the unicorn. We talked about last week, we talked a little bit about unicorns, lots of unicorn energy around here. My unicorn in the backyard is named Eclipse, after the Epsilon Epiphany and Eclipse energy. Indulge your creative, imaginative, and magical side through some form of artistic expression. And of course, that leads me to be reminded of the 7th thing that we cannot do without as humans, and where we will literally perish if we do not have some form of creative expression and connection, some feeling of connection. And connect, today's date equals 14, which is connect, that we have got to feel a connection to something other than ourselves, to feel that love and support, to help know ourselves. And even the unicorn energy. So many of us all over the world right now, for some reason, are experiencing this unicorn energy. It's magical. It's our creative expression. And
I wanted to also just mention one of the things that we were, that we discovered when we were sort of looking up about the whole Earth Day thing and the Earth Week, is that it was originally designed to be on the equinox.
Yes, thank you for reminding.
And the reason why it sort of got moved to this week was really so more people could participate in learning about Earth Day based on being in school with spring break, no testing going on.
Yes.
So the whole week in the public school systems, they could talk about Earth Day and do Earth Day kind of events and things, and, you know, arts and crafts
and to give it its the attention it deserves.
Exactly.
Yes.
But the interesting thing was the equinox is the only time that across the world, the equinox is the same time. And that allows, no matter where you are, to be able to together with intention, sort of have good intentions for the world, good intentions for Earth, but everyone across the whole planet at the same time has the ability to do it at the same time.
Yes.
And sort of operate in unity. And that was the original intent for Earth Day, to sort of take that moment in time where across the whole planet, without any kind of separation of people, color, creed, race, political boundaries, everyone together could take some time and appreciate the Earth.
Exactly. And to have that amplified energy with everybody all at one time makes all of the difference. Oh, hey, Ivy, I just wanted to say hi. I see that you said you have to go soon. Did you want to share anything today? Miss Animal, Earth Lover, Shamanic Woman, Goddess, you. Woo, there's our kitties. Tell us how many critters you've got around you. And Lisa or Dramatic says, I love peacocks and have 80 long feathers in my living room. And actually Dave bought me a bunch of peacock feathers too. And I didn't wear my feathers today, but I've got the peacock feathers and owl feathers with the headband. So I love them. I absolutely love them. So, and if you guys know me from my videos, I have a collection of all kinds of feathers. So a whole nother thing that we've talked about before, but there's something about those peacock feathers. And it was funny because I was also guided to he bought me a bundle of them, and it was almost like we both knew they were also supposed to be given away. And so I've given several away to several people to help them remember to be themselves, be creative, stand out and be heard, to remind themselves to be colorful. And so everyone I've given them to, it's almost like they're, oh, wow, you know. Hey, Ivy.
Hey, okay. I went and got my Buddha Wisdom, Kuan Yin, Divine Feminine cards for today, awesome. Just because it's Goddess Friday.
Woohoo!
And I will draw one while I'm still here because I gotta leave pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And then you can riff off of it because you're good at that. Okay, the card for Buddha Wisdom. Emptiness is absolute reality, the source and support of all things. Sounds more like a thing you get in a fortune cookie.
Hey, that's funny you said that because we have a bunch of fortune cookies.
Emptiness is the absolute reality. Okay. The source and support of all things. Well,
support.
All the businesses in my local area are doing emptiness. Does that mean they're all being Zen?
Well,
that was a joke.
There is a lot to be said for that, though. There is a lot. We've been talking about that, about how quiet everybody is, how Zen everybody is, how inward everybody is. Even when we go out in the world, just to the store, everybody's inside themselves. It's very, very interesting.
Feels different.
It feels very different.
Going to town is I'm kind of a hermity kind of person, so my at-home lifestyle hasn't changed a bit. I'm like really jealous of all these people that have too much time on their hands and don't know what to do. But when I go to town, it's different. It feels different in town. You have to be careful where you breathe, what you touch, getting too close, getting too far. Oh my God, did I touch that? Where's my hand sanitizer? I forgot. Oh, crap. Just going to town has become a really stressful
Well, I know, because we're like,
whereas,
we're all
before it was
covered.
bad enough before.
So we've decided that we don't want to play that game.
Yeah.
No.
So
we only do it where we have to, but otherwise, no, we don't really participate in any of that. So, but I wanted to mention too that you have a lot of animals around you, and that, and where you live is very rural, as you mentioned. And for any of you that know a little bit of our story, that Ivy had gifted me with a beautiful little white kitten who became really the catalyst for pretty much Dave and I actually moving forward and moving here. And so, which he did, our little kitty.
Thank you, Ivy.
And thank you, Ivy, and thank you, Cosmo, our little kitty. And even though he only was visiting for just a little while, but he really changed our lives. And so animals come to us as little spirit guides. And even my dog Ranger, if you guys know my dog Ranger, and I've had Ranger now, he's 8 years old, and Ranger was with me before I started my YouTube channel and before I started speaking light languages. And I will have to say that he really was a part of a catalyst for that for me as well. He taught me a lot more about myself and about nurturing myself and self-love and connecting to an animal, I saw myself with him in different lives. I saw him as different animals with me in different lives. So many of our animals that come to us now as our domesticated animals, as dogs and cats, have been other animals with us in other lives. Could even the Black Panther, the jaguar, all of those things, the wolf, the deer, so many of these animals that come to us in our domestic lives have been with us in other lives as other types of animals. And then also, I actually feel, and I think many of us might agree too, that our guides speak to us through our animals as well. And so they can be catalysts for us for change. They can be a way for us to connect with self-love, to a part of ourselves that, because they require nothing from us but their love, and but our love and attention, and then we don't expect them to do anything else but just be. And so we learn from them about that. And so yes, they're very inspiring to us and can be catalysts for great change. And all of them are messages and messengers. And so many times, and I wanted to say briefly too, that it was Ranger that in having him, it took me to places and having new adventures, like in the woods and things that I wouldn't have done before, that he brought me out of my own shell really, and brought me out into nature, brought me into the woods. And actually, that's when I started making light language videos. It was just one day. I was just, after I started speaking light languages, it was just one day. It was walking him in the woods. It was like, boom, they were there, saying, hi, we have messages for you. And all of these collectives started coming, the Avian Collective, the Emissaries of the Light Collective, all of the Yael, all of these other beings. So animals really do help us connect. What would you say about that, Ivy, as far as your animals? Now you have a lot of dogs and cats, and you actually breed cats.
Dogs,
and
cats, bunnies. Yeah, I think they don't have that intellectual programming in the way between them and whatever you want to call it, spirit, source. They don't have that chatter that they have to break through to get back into source. You know, it's like there's this wall of intellectual crap that humans have, you know, and to get back to source, there's that thing that always sounded so intimidating in meditation. You have to quiet your mind. I gave up on that. I finally realized that it's not in the quieting your mind, but as you meditate and your mind travels, the deal is in the returning to that place. It's like the more your mind travels, the more you get to experience the return. And animals, they're closer to source, I think. And that's my attraction to them. It's like, well, if I'm surrounded by animals and they're closer to source, does that help me be closer to source too?
Well, I would say so. I mean, isn't that what, even with animal totems and spirit guides, I think, doesn't that actually I don't want to say activate, but doesn't it does that. It connects us to source in a way that
yes,
we can't, or something. It's almost like maybe they're a bridge for us to that unconditional loving bridge that says, I love you, as we're speaking or feeling our pets or whatever. I love you just for being. They teach us that's how source feels about us. Yeah. I love you just for being, just for existing. You don't have to do anything. Just be you. All I want as source
is pets.
Yeah. Well, that's a different way to look at it.
Sorry.
Versus pets, I love it. Well, you know, I always said we are sources, so.
Yeah.
So that, you know, why not?
Oh gosh.
Oh, that is pretty funny. Well,
that was the profound statement of the day. I had to work up to that one.
That's a really good one. That I wanted to mention too, that Florentine says, she says, I got a healing from the neighbor's cat yesterday, put her paws on my solar plexus and heart center. She says it was deliberate and it wasn't a normal position for her to sleep in. Hi, Beverly, hop in if you guys, hey, anybody, if you want, hop in. The Zoom link's on my website and it's also in the chat there to get to the link. Interesting about the cat, because, you know, Ivy has a lot of cats around her and she breeds them. So interesting how cats themselves have a way of connecting to multidimensionally. They have a way of seeing threads of connections to us and other things and even objects. And I think this whole 9 lives thing that is associated with cats, which I'm curious to know what was the origin. I mean, if any of you guys know, I'm curious. Maybe you even know, Ivy, but the origin of that idea that cats have 9 lives. But I kind of feel like it has something to do with their ability to see multidimensionally. I sort of feel like that it has something more to do with the ability to maneuver through maybe parallel realities or see, because I think they have this ability, and there's a lot of Lyran energy. If you guys are not familiar, Lyra, the planet Lyra, and the Lyran energy, they're a feline race that exists in many of the star systems, including the Sirius star system. There's a lot of feline types of beings, and so I feel their energy. And so when we're around, when we get messages or have dreams or see images of, say, panthers, cats, tigers, lions, that I've been heavily in the lion and tiger energy lately myself. So it's kind of tapping into that idea, that wisdom, that higher healing energy. And so, as Florentine mentioned about being the healing from the cat, they have this way, cats, all animals, but they have this way of when their paws are on you, where they literally have this healing. I had never had a cat as an adult until I had Cosmo, the cat from Ivy, and the connections that I got from him to hybrid children, to other aspects of me, to Dave, to, I was able to connect to other things through that little kitten. And I only had it for what, a few weeks, whatever, a few months. And it was the weirdest thing ever. Like I would literally, the purring and the connection, it was almost as if I would receive information saying, I am a bridge. I'm helping you connect to this other energy, this other information. So it was very interesting. Florentine, did you want to speak on your experience on that at all? Or you don't have to, I just wanted to see if you wanted to. Well, I take a drink of water.
That's my time. I'm so sorry. I have to go.
Okay, darling. Well, thank you. I'm so happy that you shared that, though. Thank you.
Yeah, I love you. I'll be watching the replay of this later on.
Okay.
Love you. See ya.
Love you. Talk
Bye-bye.
soon. Love you guys. And that's another thing too, that we wouldn't meet each other like this if it wasn't for putting ourselves out there, being our true colors, sharing ourselves. I wouldn't meet people such as yourself. I wouldn't have met Ivy. I wouldn't have met Florentine. I wouldn't have met all of these people that are part of my journey. And so it's very exciting for me. So I just, so I wanted to see too that I wanted to see if Florentine, if you had anything that you wanted to share about that. And I was looking, let's see. That's true. Drunatic says, yes, I have a lot of feathers. I'll have to show you all my peacock feathers. I have a lot of them. And you said I feel rich money-wise when I look at my peacock feathers for some reason. That's how I feel too. I kind of feel like the peacock shows us this idea of abundance, of knowing that if we really are showing our true colors, that's one of the things that Bashar mentioned in one of his recent events that we were watching the other day during the Cosmic Expo. And he talked about that, about creative expression. I was thinking about the creative expression, how when you're expressing yourself creatively, everything else comes with it. The abundance, all of the other things that we need to sustain ourselves come with the idea of following your highest joy and excitement and passion as far as you can take it. As far as you can take it, moment by moment, until you can't take it any further without any insistence on the outcome, A lot of times we will not do anything creatively because we think there's no reason, there's no purpose, no one cares, there's nobody to see it, that it's not going to make me a bunch of money, so why should I bother? It has to be for the purpose of the passion of doing it in of itself, that when we do that, all of the other abundance comes right along with it. It all happens all by itself. So that is the biggest message that we are here to share and receive, is when we are ourselves, showing our true colors, when we are out there being ourselves and expressing ourselves. And that's one of the things that Dave and I do on these Fridays, is when we're honoring the divine God and goddess within us, it's because we're honoring every part of all that is and our connection to all of those things. And then how do those tools, permission slips, relics, artifacts, crystals, all of these, the incense, all of these things, lighting the candles, saying blessings every day, looking at these symbols, how do all of these things play into all of these multidimensional connections in helping us become all that we're aware of, all that we are, and expressing ourselves fully and allowing ourselves the understanding that it will create everything we've ever wanted, needed. And how often we talk about how we don't know what we want. If we ask for what we need and be general about it, such as we talk about, well, I want joy, I want to feel peace, I want to feel comfort, I want to feel self-love, I want to feel compassion, empathy, I want to open up my clairvoyances, I want to connect with other beings. All of these things, when we put that out there in our creative expression, even if it's just a drawing or a vision. I started with a vision board, and the funny thing is, I'm reminded about that I showed pictures to Dave of my vision board, because the pictures on there that I had put on there so many years ago, I'm living those pictures right now, down to the hammock and the palm trees. Seriously, these were all on my vision board years and years ago. Just by putting them on there, and the sacred geometry and pictures of lighthouses and all of these other things, it was my higher self talking to us. Our higher self sends us information in visions and pictures. And then by the way we're excited about it is the answer to our higher self. If our higher self and our higher mind gives us something, shows us something that we're excited about, and we don't follow it, what is the point of sending us more if we're not going to follow it? So that idea of action is the language of physical reality. And so acting on that excitement is what brings more and more information, more things to be excited about, gives you more stuff to be. And when we say stuff, meaning abundance, having what you need to do, when you need to do it, what you need to do, and simply by following your passion. So and how that brings all of the things that we don't even know we want or need, things that our higher mind, we can't even begin to imagine. So it's kind of like that. I want that or better, that or better. Was there anything else you wanted to comment on that?
Abundance of experiences.
That's a really good way to put it too. An abundance of experiences, because really, we talk about what makes a good day. And sometimes an abundance of little experiences throughout our day, even if they're just one little amazing little experience, you go, wow, that was a really good day. That was a really good day because I had this really cool experience today. Isn't that what we all equate to a good day, is when we've had a really cool experience? So how can we create these cool experiences? Well, we create these cool experiences by being ourselves, by allowing ourselves to transform.
Well, I mean, you could go to the beach and have a nice day at the beach, but when you come back from the beach, you reflect on the experience that you had at the beach. So the enjoyment is of the experience, as well as actually participating in the action that you're doing at the time. So, for instance, if you can't go to the beach, you could remember what it was like when you went to the beach and just be in that moment. Yes. And enjoy that experience now, even though you're not at the beach, and you bring more of those things to you. So maybe it would be pictures of a beach that somebody sent you that they're enjoying, that reminds you of being at the beach, and you could bring back that enjoyable memory. So it's all about being in the feelings of the good experiences that you like.
That's a very good point, because that's the whole point of having a memory, having that experience, is when we remember an experience, you have to be in the vibration of the experience to even re-experience it. So you have got to become the vibration of it before you can even have the memory of it. So, and I was reminded something about that when you just were saying that. It reminded me about something that my sister had said, and that relates to some people that we know. That my sister is paralyzed on one side of her body, so she can't necessarily feel like putting her toes in the sand, for example, and feeling that feeling, or being in the ocean, or that idea. So walking on the beach. So what the answer to that is, our imagination is so very powerful that, just as Dave just said, just by recreating the vibration of that moment, by remembering it, because you have to recreate the vibration to remember it, it is as powerful as actually doing the act in that moment. So when we can't do that thing, when you can't put your feet on the ground, when our imagination, that is the tool, the bridge to speak to our higher mind. And so when we are putting ourselves in the vibration, it gives our higher mind the message to bring me more of those things that make me feel that way.
And it's the feeling.
It's
because
the feeling.
You might be thinking about being on the beach all day, even though it's raining or you can't go to the beach, and somebody might show up with ice cream. And then you have the ice cream and you're like, wow, this ice cream is really good. And it's the same kind of enjoyable feeling. Maybe it's even better than when you were at the beach.
Exactly.
It's not always that fun eating ice cream on the beach.
That's a fact too. That's
so now, that or better, somebody brought ice cream.
That or better. Yes, that's a very good point. So, and we actually, when we allow ourselves to be in the flow, and we experience this here all the time, when we allow ourselves to be in the flow, we always get that or better. I mean, it really does work that way. We kind of play with it now, because it's just almost like, well, that or better. We know we're going to get that or better. And we can also, all of us can go the other way too, is when we expect less, we often will then create circumstances in which we will receive that in return. So that is a very good example of how you can literally change your reality by your vibration, because as we recreate that vibration, it allows more of those things to come into our lives that may not have anything to do with the beach, but it can still create a whole nother new experience that has a joyful high vibration. And so even a day of just having a day of where so many of us who don't get to slow down, and so many of all of you who don't get to slow down, maybe now it's the opportunity to be able to sit down and say, really, I'm really going to enjoy this cup of tea. I'm really going to enjoy this bath. I'm really going to enjoy this. That's another thing we haven't really talked about, but the whole idea of salt baths and taking a bath and the relaxation and setting that atmosphere to have an experience that, if you have a bathtub and are able to do something like that, it can recreate it. Just the idea of the bathtub and the water and the candles and bubble bath, it can create a whole experience that you go, wow, that was a really good day. You know, I got to have a really great long bath, something we enjoy very much. So that's something else that we're guided to remind everybody, is that salt baths, Epsom salts, Himalayan sea salts. We're very much into this whole sea salt thing too. Sometimes we feel the need to relax, detox, whatever the case may be. And we're guided to connect with that idea of the Himalayan sea salts. They're from the Himalayas, they're from the mountains, the pink, how we take that for granted, that how these elements talk to our bodies, how we were talking today about vitamins and minerals and selenite, and how our bodies are, if you look at a bottle of vitamins and minerals, well, it's the same as the crystals we're using, kind of. I mean, a lot of it's the same stuff. We're made of the same stuff. We're made of the same star stuff, the same the same minerals and elements. Were made of all these things. And so it would only stand to reason that we would be able to connect to these things like crystals. And we are crystal. We are actual crystal beings, connecting to other crystals and being able to speak to them and getting information from them. I was just looking at some of the notes here. I was just looking at some of the notes about animals, and that's true. What Lisa said too. Animals gravitate toward people who need healing, and also protect and transmute negative energies around us, as well as a protector. And that is very true. I've seen that as well, where even my dog Ranger, I've seen how he reacts to even my sister, to the parts of her that can't move. It's very interesting how animals are very in tune with people. And of course, that's why we use them for sight guides and for just, comfort, where they call those, I can't think of the word, where we have animals as companions, you know know what I'm talking about. Anyway, because they make us feel better. So now that's a thing. I mean, it's getting to that point. Now people have understood the importance of that. And I've always believed that myself. I've always believed that animals, people's pets, should be allowed in hospitals. They should be. It is part of healing. And being with our pets when we can't be with them. I think that's when we need them the most. And it's kind of fun too when I see some of the restaurants around here that are pet friendly, because they let people bring their pets, and they're outdoors, but and they actually accommodate them and have water for them and snacks and things. So I always think it's nice when that that these companions are recognized, and that when we recognize the animal kingdom as our spirit guides and companions, then we receive more information from them. And even me speaking light languages helped me connect with. It was like I was walking, when I first started making videos, I would be walking and speaking light languages, and started noticing like the birds, collecting in the trees and starting to say things to, like I say things to me, because it was almost as if I was hearing, well, it wasn't almost, I was hearing like messages in English in my head, but it was as if they were saying, we're giving you this information. We are the Avian Collective. We are here as co-creators with you on Gaia, on Earth, to help assist you with your, with Earth's ascension process. We're here as guides, and we're here as reminders. We're here to activate the remembering. See, now I'm getting like Egyptian images, reminds us of that idea of Isis, Osiris. There's so many threads that this all goes into, that it starts to, even the unicorns, and looking at the unicorn, even the unicorn has wings, feathers, it's like, no, we almost always equate feathers with flight, with magic, with higher education, with writing, with angels, with guides, so we're talking about feathers today. That's a huge symbol for all of us. For me, it was my guides telling me that white feather and was the symbol for magic, for white magic. This idea of bringing pure, loving light to the earth. The symbol of the dove, the swan. We have a pair of doves that lives right out here, and we love watching them, listening to them, going back and forth in their nests, and doves mate for life. And so that they give off that beautiful, boy, I have to say it out loud. They give off that twin flame energy. It's like I had to say it out loud. I'm like, it's that idea of your perfect reflection, that you are your own perfect reflection, that you are a perfect reflection of source already, that's already what you are, and to just be that beautiful, colorful reflection. Anyway, I could, the wings. Yes, the wings.
Well, I'm reminded too about the idea of the things that come to us telepathically, and the connections that we have, such as Bashar and those collectives, that they're here to help us, but we're also helping them, and they're also helping Gaia and the earth and the animals and the flowers. And we're so interconnected that everything is a connection and a reminder to be used as a connection for other things. So for instance, you might have a planet of beings that are communicating with us. Well, they're communicating with other planets and beings. So we could communicate to those other ones via the idea of our connection with the ones that we're currently talking to. So it's almost like a big net, like a neural net of telepathy.
Yes.
That allows the connections to happen, sometimes not directly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yes.
Where they're learning from us, we're learning from them. They're helping energetically in a lot of different ways. And I think it's important to keep in mind that all of these things are available to us to interact with. So for instance, you see a yellow flower, you think of...
I was just thinking about her.
You think about what will that yellow flower allow you to connect to? And all you have to do is ask. You just have the intention of saying, you could say, hello, yellow flower. What do you what kind of energies do you represent? And do you have anything, to share with us? And everyone, the result might be different, but there's always a gateway available to make a connection for almost anything that you look at, and especially if you're passionate about it. So we were just sort of talking about this morning about the idea of flowers and how everyone has a tendency to want to smell the flowers. And not only do the colors represent certain energy, but the smells represent a secret gateway of connection to certain things. And it probably doesn't matter what the technical aspects of how it happens or why it happens, or does a rose always act as a connection to the same thing for everyone? That doesn't really matter. It might be something you've decided,
yes,
at a higher level, that when you smell roses, you're going to feel a certain energy. And if you want to have the intention of using that as a way to dial your radio into that frequency, and you have the intention of doing it, you could connect to whatever it is that you've predetermined would be the rose frequency.
Yes.
And somebody's listening.
And somebody's listening.
And somebody will answer if you want to listen back.
Yes. It's been a very interesting, the experiences that I have and have had for several years now, well, since all of this, since my awakening really started, and all my life really, because I've always been awake all my life, but I've always had that idea that that these things can help us connect to these other things, and these experiences that I get frequently throughout the day, the night, I don't always share, and so it's important that I'm reminded of the importance about sharing, because of course, this is one of the things that we tell everybody, please come and share. Please join in the rooms and share your experiences, share your light languages, share your card readings, share your relics and artifacts and things that what do you use to connect multidimensionally? And so I wanted to, before I mention something to you guys, I've been a lot in the lion and tiger energy too, and the tiger card came up. And so the tiger card came up, and it says, and this is for all of us now, and this goes along with all of the other cards in the reading, you're being called upon to provide leadership, so trust that you're capable of doing so. And again, blue and green and yellow, showing our stripes, the lion, cat energy. So we've got another cat card. And then the last one, trust your instincts to discern the truth of the situation. So we're all being asked that right now. Trust your instincts to discern the truth of the situation. And Dave and I have been trusting our instincts from the day one of this whole virus thing, trusting our instincts to discern the truth of the situation, and allowing our truth to be our truth. And that's the shark. Again, another blue and green card. And so we've got water energy, earth energy, air energy, magic energy. So all of these cards it's a good time to go on, take a new adventure. You're being called upon to provide leadership. We're all being called upon right now to provide leadership. So trust that you're capable of doing that by letting yourself stand out, using your imagination to do something creative, an action, and trusting your instincts that you're going to discern the truth. And so discerning the truth. And so Lisa says she literally drinks apple juice almost every day. And there's a particular one that we like. And so we buy apple juice or apple cider like all the time. So, and it is something that when we do our dinner prayers at night, thank you apples, thank you trees, thank you. So yes, we include them in the blessings. And it helps us all connect to all of these things. And so I had a weird experience last night, and I all of a sudden I was just started hearing light languages, started speaking, and I was just blah, 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 speaking light languages. And then I was sitting alone outside, and then Dave came outside, and all of a sudden I heard something like, I was almost as if the person, the being that I was speaking to just was like, stop talking. And I was like, well, you're awful talkative a minute ago. What happened? And it was as if it was like a child, this female girl child. And she was like hiding behind a tree in my vision. And she said she was really shy. And she said, well, he's coming. I'm too shy. I can't talk. And it was the weirdest thing. It actually prompted an entire conversation with this little child, this hybrid child. And she told us her name. Her name is Sandra. She said, why? And then she said to us, yellow flowers. She kept saying yellow flowers. And she said, use the yellow flower. And she showed me just an image of a little tiny yellow flower with like 4 little tiny yellow petals. And she said, use the image of this or any yellow flower. But when you see a yellow flower, she said, or use the yellow flower to connect with me and to help facilitate, connecting. And so Dave asked her a few questions last night, and it was kind of interesting how she was sort of introducing herself and telling us about how us sharing like everyday things, even a kiss, how we take these things for granted on our earth, even our animals. We take all these things for granted, but that there's all these other multiverses watching and learning from what we do here, because what we do here is really special and unique, and it exists nowhere else. And we have a very special protected, I say protected because it's a very special playground. And so and we're a master class. This is the master class, and there's master teachers learning from us, so that everything is now, so that the teachers are teaching the teachers that are teaching the students. We're all students and teachers at the same time. So this literally is the master class. We are mastering limitation. So we are teaching them, meaning the children, the other beings that are existing on other planets and ships, waiting to come here to interact with us. And the frequencies have to be in such that we have to meet them. And they're learning about all these things, about why do we eat, what do we eat? Why do we use utensils? Why are all of these simple things that we take for granted, all of our animals, what do we do? Why do we pray? What is all of these things they want us to share. And not only these children, but, and when I say children, hybrid children, they are other beings that we have all agreed to be a part, allowing our DNA to be a part of them, and to create a whole nother race of beings that are going to become the next whole hybrid, next human race. And so we are the way showers, the teachers of the teachers, and we're teaching them by interacting with these beings how we live, why we do it, what we do, so that they can learn from us and meet us and understand why we do it the way that we do. And they also have the ability to interact in their own kind of holographic safe playground, if you will, where they can take these experiences and have Earth experiences, but in a safe manner, whereas we actually manifest stuff. Well, they can do it without that. They can actually play. It's a little bit different how they can actually play it out without actually creating something. And maybe I'm not exactly explaining it right, but it's more of like maybe a video game kind of an explanation. So anyway, she was, it was kind of funny because even then this morning, like almost as soon as I woke up, it was as if it was the conversation almost left off where we left off, where it was like, there were more questions and more things that, more interactions that wanted to happen. And so these are the kind of things that many of us are having experiences with. And I have experiences with all the time and have for years that I don't always talk about, but it's as if even me, they're pushing me out there and Dave is helping me push me out there, and the whole peacock thing and that idea of showing people that they're sharing this stuff doesn't have to be weird or scary. It's happening to all of us, and all of us who are asking for it, many of us, and how, and we even talked a little bit about light languages and how does that help us connect with them, and how do they speak them, and so there was all kinds of information that was being transmitted, and some of it I really couldn't even articulate, and some of it has to do with even my own limited understanding, my own limited vocabulary, their understanding of I don't want to say limited vocabulary, but her inability to explain certain things. I can only explain what I'm getting. And so anyway, it was how else can I explain this?
Well, I think what I think I want to say about that is, first of all, if you're watching this video, you probably really hope UFOs land and we get to meet the aliens. So obviously we don't want there to be fear associated with that. So if we were going to go to Mars, we got to build a spaceship and we have to travel to Mars, and we need to know something about the environment that Mars is, and how are we going to live on Mars and eat on Mars, and what kind of weather's on Mars. And if we actually knew that there were creatures on Mars, we would certainly need to know about those creatures because they're going to be walking around. So it's the same sort of thing. Of course, you know, I would say NASA scientists, but now it's scientists all over, not specifically government run, but they're going to create simulations on flying to Mars and see how it works, and living on Mars, setting up, you know, simulated environments in the desert to see what it's like to live there for months at a time. So it's really the same thing. Other beings are able to telepathically communicate with us. And in order for them to interact with us more, they need to learn about the environment that they're going to be interacting with. So we have questions for them, but they probably have more questions for us.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's a shared experience for sure. And, you know, of course, Wendy and I would love to see people show up in spaceships and come down and hang out and have tea with us. But until that happens, this is a good way to help facilitate that. And if no one's, for instance, if an alien race doesn't have pets and they come to Earth and everybody's got a dog on a leash, what are they going to think? They're not going to know what's going on.
They're like, why would you? And that's a good point that you said, because actually, Bashar, that people have asked him about that in events. Do you have pets? Do you have animals? And they're not pets like they are here. They're like equal symbiotic relationships. They're not a pet, like a alpha kind of relationship. It's not like that.
So they need to understand more about us. And I guess if they wanted to, you know, be in a ship in orbit and watch, that's one way of doing it. But when you have telepathy and you have the ability to connect at that level, it's a lot easier to just do it that way and learn about it. And, you know, there are computer simulations of and holographic systems that let them practice being on Earth. They talk to people all over and get more information and more data that they could add into their simulation so they could be more prepared to actually do it in a more real way.
Absolutely. Thank you for that explanation. Elaboration. So these are the kinds of things too that I've been speaking light languages for a long time. And one of the questions that we get a lot is, well, what are you saying? Are you speaking to another being? Is it other? And it's a lot of those things. It's my soul speaking. It's my soul guide speaking. I could be speaking to another, say, race of beings. I could be receiving symbols. As Dave and I talked about how, which we'll be talking about light language linguistics and specifically and in general about how did light become language? How did light and sound become a language? How did sounds become physical letters? How did that all start? And so understanding how light languages is just, it's like a wildfire that's spreading across the world. It's when I started, there was hardly anybody maybe that they weren't speaking them, but there was nobody out there talking about it, but there was hardly anybody out there actually where you could find any information. There weren't that many people talking about it or even on YouTube. So at that time, there was really just a couple of people. And then when I started making videos, all of this other information started coming through about connecting with other beings and star systems and animals and angels and ancestors and other parallel realities like Egyptian timelines. And then I would start to see myself as, and we talked about that too. Was I that person? Not necessarily, but we're accessing that archetypal energy. We're accessing that stream of data. How many people connect with that idea that, oh, I feel like I am Isis. I was Isis. And so how many of us who have felt like we were there at the beginning of light, the beginning of language. So all of these things are expressions of connecting to all of these things, and light language, in one of the ways that we can connect to these other beings is through light language. And it's, it can be a language from another star system. It can be a telepathic connection of data that really is presented in light patterns that we receive as packets of information, it's almost like, do you ever get, like, you understand a concept and you can get all of the information, but then if you wanted to explain it to somebody, you just can't. It's like that. It's like you get all of this information, but you can't really explain in detail what you just learned, but you know it. And it's kind of like you get this information from this, and then I try to articulate and I don't like to use translate, but interpret the feeling, the images, the information, the imagery, the words even in English that I feel are coming through. But is it a direct translation? It's not really like that, at least, but it's not that I don't hear words too. Someone mentioned the other day that their daughter, who is very young, I believe she said she was 5, said she watches my videos and she can understand all the words I'm saying, but she understands it in English, but I'm only saying it in light language. And so I wanted to thank her publicly for that message, that email, to let me know that, because that was really pretty incredible for me to think that someone can watch the videos who's just a little girl, and to be able to actually hear the information because she's hearing it from her soul. But her brain is hearing it in words. So this was very, very fascinating to me, because this just happened yesterday or the day before that I received this email. So very, very interesting how there's this very specific thread that it's about the children. And we were talking about this last night, and Dave said that too. It's about the children. It's about how are we and light languages helping us connect to the children, and our earth children, the star children. A lot of information I've been receiving the last few months about children and hybrid children, about the children that are being born right now on Earth from the time of the equinox, the spring equinox, throughout that time. There was a whole bunch of information about that, about dates and about the energy of these children that are going to be being born. And now that we've got a lot of people home these last few weeks, there is definitely going to be an influx of children being born. So these are going to be very special children. So I've been receiving a lot of information about that idea of these are going to be very special children that are being born into the world, and the dates that they're choosing to be born, the times that they're being chosen that they're choosing to be born, all of this is going to be significant. And so part of the widespread rampantness of of light language is the preparation for the connection with these people, these children, these other star families that we have agreed to share the next generation of human collective consciousness with. So all of these things that seem unrelated, and we talk about gods and goddesses and TV and movies and relics and dressing up, but it's way more than that. It's bigger than that. It's about connecting to all of these aspects of ourselves. And if we could do it through play, if we could do it through being fun, through you know, robes and costumes, and you know, if this is a way to get people to become more active and more less self-conscious and connecting to other aspects of themselves by being fun and silly, but yet, as you can see, we take this stuff very, very seriously. But it's about your work is your play is your work.
So I'm going to ask you
Yes.
something that you are not prepared for.
No.
I think it would be nice
No.
if we could have a light language message from perhaps the animal collective.
Oh, okay. I was expecting you to say something else. Okay, good.
For all of us, but also for everyone else watching, including Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
And everyone else upline.
That's a good name. Upline and downline. So upline
in all dimensions.
In all dimensions. And upline and downline, really, we understand that upline and downline is really, we think of linear time, but everything's happening right now. And without getting into the physics of all that, but really it's just physics, you guys. It's just physics. But we're creating now the future and the past. And so by connecting with these animal spirit guides and connect all day long has been the word connect. Connecting to prepare and preparing to connect. So let this then, this light language blessing and transmission from the animal collectives and the emissaries of the light collective, who are really representing all dimensions and frequencies, physical and non-physical beings, animal archetypes, all of the above, to help us all interact with each other and with our ET friends and the children. I just keep hearing the children. And I wanted to invite all of you who have children that might be speaking light languages. Maybe you're speaking them or you're not and they are. I'm excited about bringing that into our experience. If you guys want to share that here on a Friday, if you want to do a special hangout, I know because they're children, it's a very sensitive situation and I understand that, and they're very young. So maybe putting them out in the public may not be comfortable for you, but if it's something that you're guided to share, I'm really excited about that idea because I know a lot of people now that have children that are experiencing light languages. And so I think it's important that we embrace that and we encourage that. And because they will be the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, they will be they will be all of the builders, and they will be the governments or the lack of governments, as the case may be. They're going to be the leaders, the spiritual guides, the way showers, and the teachers of the next wave of teachers.
I'm reminded too that if you're speaking light language and you have children, you might be sort of afraid to do it in front of them. But I'm reminded to mention that you probably shouldn't be afraid to do it. And maybe they could speak it too, but you don't know that. And maybe they don't realize what they're doing because you're a little bit of afraid of what would happen if they heard you speaking the light language.
Good point. Very good point. And this is a safe place to do that. And that's one of the reasons why we create the sacred space for all of you and all of us to share this weird stuff. We call it weird. Look up the definition. I've asked you guys that before, and I just shared that with a friend the other day, Stephanie, and I published her video. I want to thank all of you guys for watching Stephanie's video.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Really, it was just an impromptu thing. We were just hanging out, and I'm telling you, the shaman came out in her, and it was that day. I told you guys about this story, I think on a Wednesday or a Friday, where she put on the Wonder Woman gloves, and all of a sudden something activated in her, and she got the drums, and then Dave went and got the drum, and she just started doing this shamanic, and she said, I'm doing a shamanic activation healing for AJ. And so she just started on the drums and started singing. And so she did it a little while ago, and I just only
do this.
Hi, Stephanie.
Because she might be at work.
Because she might be at work.
She can't listen.
And she can't.
Because she's at work.
So she might be watching. So hey, girl, hey. And so she did allow me to publish it, and you guys are watching it. And I just want to thank you for watching it, for just being excited about it. And again, it was just one of those impromptu things. We were just hanging out, and that's how these things happen. And so I just wanted to send that out there to thank you and to thank her for coming out of her shell and for letting me publish it to all of you. So thanks for watching, and thank you, Stephanie, for letting me publish it, and thank you for coming out of your shell. Here's the butterfly wings girl. She's already seen them in person. So, so yeah, and all of you once again are invited if you're in the area, here in the Fort Lauderdale area, or even if you're not, fly in and say hi, and sit in our throne, do a video with us, be spontaneous, and let yourself be you. And so with this light language, I think we'll probably close out for the day, because we're already getting on an hour and a half here. So so I wanted to thank all of you once again for participating and watching, and thank you, Dave, for all of your help, your love, your lighting, your technical expertise, and of course you're empowering me always to speak my own truth and show my true colors, and just
and thank you all for this wonderful co-creation.
Yes. And as I tell them also, thanks for just letting me be my special brand of crazy. So, niasote ishala se imoroko se tiasho mialaki. Mesevasho si samatoi shanakoi isamasopaleata kiasonote. Come on by, Lisa. Shumotoye. Lavasoma ashano urukbaseriki. Lasimisamanyo maravakoyama sate asoma saba. Soposhunati ilahimalakoy balaki se. Itayamo somia sanantiavakose. Miaje tamia mariana malawaki. Pisaniti inkia shonopeya. Sisima tavashono maria momra. Maroma ibakatea sanasite shanosa peleanate. Hilakusi masoto shuma elai nania. Aumora kodevaki iti shanosi boluma. Avashono teveana niatoveado. Miteveko tevesho. Moveana miatuko mayata kiato vai. Neja itayanaya. Nabikoya bakoya versanose. Sevashono sebikoya somoso. So the butterfly collective was reminding me how when we see the butterflies and how they're all these beautiful different colors, the wings are almost translucent. And again, reminded that the butterfly cannot see its own beauty. But is beautiful nonetheless. So they're showing me, and I'm thinking about my friend Ivy and my friend Miguel Mendonça, who introduced me to Ivy, that they do glass work. Stained glass. and how we, in our temples, in our sacred spaces, use colorful stained glass depictions to allow the sun to shine through, to remind us of the holographic nature of creation. To allow the light to come through us, that we are basically translucent light beings. We are prisms. We are light. We appear as light because and sound and color. And I was reminded the other night, I was speaking light languages, and then I was singing to a song. And as I was singing to the song, the guys were showing me the colors from the notes were coming, and they were showing me I was breathing in the music. They said, you're breathing in the sound. You're breathing in the notes, the colors. They literally showed me the colors, and I was reminded of my friend Bree. Many of you know my friend Bree, that we've done events on Wednesdays and lots of other events over the years. But Bree, how she had said to me, the first night she met me, she saw colors as I was speaking light languages, and it was dark outside. It was nighttime. And we were sitting in a lit parking lot of a McDonald's, and she said she could see the colors like literally coming out. And so I wanted to share that with all of you, that I had that experience the other day where I was literally, they showed me and they said, breathe in the colors of the notes. Because music is like breathing in color. Because the notes are a frequency, which are a color, which actually can also equate to the color, to the smell. So it's breathing in the music. And then seeing color as you breathe out, because that is what it looks like. And then my nose starts to itch too. Yes, and the tones in my ears, it's like I start to get these feelings. And so our clair senses, all of them are being amplified and activated now more than ever. Like they're saying, activating our stained glass beings. And I'm reminded too, I'll have to ask my friend Ivy to share her website for her stained glass. She does beautiful work. As does my friend Miguel Mendoza, and the idea is of the light coming through the prism, and we are all prisms, and so many of the prisms that shine through our own windows here in the house, that and I noticed too, it's only certain times of the year. You only get them in certain, because as the sun shifts, then I've noticed that they don't appear anymore. So it's only certain times of the year when the changes in the seasons change the frequencies and the colors, and of course where we live in the world, and the seasons and the smells are going to be different, so each one is differently activating. And prism, the actual collective consciousness that is prism, that we consider rainbows and unicorn light, are just reminders when we see these prisms that it is a collective consciousness of color. It is I was reminded of that song again, Rainbows. What is the name of that song? Rainbow. He plays it all the time.
Rainbow Connection.
Rainbow Connection.
Which originally was Kermit the Frog singing it, but there's a version by Weezer and Haley Williams that I love.
That's your, yes.
That AJ
That's their is that your favorite version?
That's my favorite version.
Your favorite version. And there's a bunch of different ones, and they played it even on Sesame Street, if you guys are familiar with that. So, but Dave plays it pretty frequently. So there's something about that idea. And if, and several years ago, it's probably been a couple of years now, maybe, but I've done several videos where the Prism Collective actually has come to me and said, we are Prism, we are here. And prisms will literally like appear in the sky above me, and I can't explain it, but it's true. So these prisms, and because they reminded me that they change at the different times of year, are to remind us to seize the moment, seize the day, seize that, breathe in that color when you see it, and because in a moment it's going to be gone. And if that's one of the things I'm learning more and more every day, and reminded in my life and by Dave and with Dave, is making the most of every moment, and the magic that you can pack into a moment. And I was reminded of Hula Hoop Girl. Do you want to tell the story really quick? And before we go, I don't know. I feel like somebody needs to hear it.
Sure.
Because it was that kiss.
So I learned a lesson about not hesitating. And I was at a party, sort of helping AJ with a friend of his and a bunch of their friends. And there was a girl that decided that she was going to go outside, and apparently she was a professional hula hoop performer. So she was outside doing hula hoops, and AJ was inside, and she was showing some people how to do hula hoop and sort of teaching them how to do hula hoop. And she walked up to me and said, "Do you want me to show you?" And I'm thinking, of course I want her to show me. But I thought for a moment, I better go check on AJ because he's inside. It's been a little while. And in that moment's hesitation, she turned around and said, "Okay, forget it." Walked away, and that was it.
Gotta go.
Of course, and we've never seen her again. But it was just a lesson in, when the opportunities come, do not hesitate, because sometimes the opportunities don't come back. So I think about her often.
And then he says, "You hula hoop girl," all the time.
And yeah, anybody, when those moments where you're not supposed to hesitate happen, I always say it's a hula hoop girl moment.
Yep, exactly. And so I bring that up because when we first met in person, there was one moment that changed everything. And we talk about that because he had one moment to make a decision and did not hesitate. And that moment changed everything. So yeah, so I guess somebody out there needed to hear that. So maybe you haven't been presented with it yet. Maybe you're going to be presented with it. Maybe you already have, and you're hesitating, hemming and hawing, not following your heart or your guidance, making up all these judgy things about why you shouldn't follow your heart. But maybe it's about this moment, that there's going to be moments for all of us that are going to be those magical moments where you're going to be asked to take a leap and not hesitate. And I'm feeling it very deeply. So somebody needed to hear that story. And
those moments happen continuously.
All day long.
Once you start the ball rolling, they keep coming.
And he actually even bought me a hula hoop.
I did. And I didn't know at the time that it was something that
I always wanted.
She had also told someone that she was going to learn how to do.
That's right, because it was in a video that I had done at a retreat in Arkansas, and it was my friend Katie. Hey, Katie. And I had done a video of her hula hooping, and I said, I want to get a hula hoop. I said, "You've inspired me to get a hula hoop." Well, that was many years ago, you guys. And so talk about hula hoops. I never got one. And that's the funny thing about that too. When all of a sudden a hula hoop shows up, and David bought me a hula hoop because I had mentioned it. And we were talking about the hula hoop girl too, that story. And I had said I always wanted one. And so an official hula hoop shows up. And it was just very interesting how I had remembered that. I said, oh my God, you have to see this video. And so I showed him the video of Katie doing the hula hoop. And I said in that video, oh, you've inspired me to get one. Well, I realized at that moment, I never did get it. I never bought it. I just never did it. And so, but did he hesitate? No. He just bought it. So, and I realized how I was almost embarrassed that I realized how many years had gone by. And I was like, I never bought the hula hoop. And so, and all I did was mention it once and forgot about it. And then it shows up on my door. So those are the kinds of things that he does and reminds me of, that don't hesitate. Even the littlest things, it's like, bam, it's done. It's like no hesitation. Because I'm reminded once again that Abraham says, and he reminds me all the time too, we say it all the time, you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And that we hesitate because we're so afraid of making the wrong decision that we make no decision. But action is the voice that we have to our higher self saying, yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I want more. And when we don't act upon it, then there's no reason to give us more stuff. So to more exciting things. And so acting upon these things creates the energy that creates these new amazing synchronicities. And if all of you know me, I love synchronicity. You know that is when we're experiencing synchronicity, we're in the flow. We're in the exact flow of our connection to our higher self. And Dave uses that term all the time. They're in my flow. Everyone's in my flow. So it's all about that. Don't hesitate. And you can't make a wrong decision, because even if it turns out you ordered the wrong thing, you did the wrong thing, doesn't it just show you what, well, I guess I didn't want that after all. I guess I thought I needed that and I don't. Or now I say that a lot. Do you remember when you asked and wanted for the thing that you've got now? Do you still want it? How do you feel now that you've got it? And Abraham always says, you always want that thing because you think you're going to feel better for the having of it. Well, do you feel better for the having of it, or now that you have it? Well, we always want more. It's good to want more. We're always supposed to want more. That's how we grow and expand. But paying attention to the now and being appreciative for the now is what brings the more the magic, because we can also attract a bunch of more stuff that we don't want, or we can attract more stuff we do want. So don't hesitate. You can't make a wrong decision, because even if you do, so what? It's going to point you in the right direction. You're going to be like, oh, well, I guess I shouldn't have done that. And you know what? Whether it's a relationship that you've been in for a day, a week, a month, or maybe 5, 10, decades, or say you've invested something, money, time, energy, and you're so afraid to let that thing go. This is a new moon. It's about new beginnings. If you're afraid and you're hesitating about letting that thing go and starting over, it's all about not hesitating, because it's going to show you either way what you want. And so, but you're going to experience a lot of magic too along the way, and even in realizing even if it's something you don't want. So is that really such a bad thing to try something on the buffet table that you've never tried before and find out you didn't like it? So that's okay.
So I realized that we're sort of giving a little bit of advice about not hesitating.
Yeah.
But I'm going to explain how I do it.
Yes.
So you get a little intuition, a little thought that pops into your head. It's very fleeting, so you have to practice. But that's the intuition to follow. And for instance, you might say, you might just get a thought, go outside. And the moment you start hesitating, then you start saying, but it's raining or it's cold or I have to make a phone call or whatever it might be. As soon as you start hesitating, all these reasons why you shouldn't do it start coming up. And those should be the signals for you to go do the thing.
He always says that.
So it's funny because that little initial intuition that you had, that little thought or the picture that popped into your head or whatever, that's what you should go do. And don't hesitate. And you're going to find out that when you follow those things, the good things are going to happen because of it. And it might not be immediate, but remember those little things that you do so you could put the pieces together later, because that's the fun of it. That you remember, oh, I had that thought about going outside and I went outside and somebody drove by and, you know, something fell out of their car and you went and grabbed it and chased them down the street. And it turned out it was somebody, you know, that was, you know, looking for something that you could help them with. And before you know it, you're friends or, you know, whatever, however it happens. But, you know, those are the type of things that you need to do and not hesitate. Doesn't always have to be necessarily a hula hoop girl, because, you know, I didn't really want to learn how to hula hoop. But I'll probably learn a little. Now that I have my own hula hoop girl.
You're funny. I had to laugh too when you said about not hesitating, because I saw Jody's message that, you know, Jody Reiki Medium, and she was on the show last couple of weeks. And she said, she says, Wendy, I had a dream last night about 313 about breathing in colors. Now, see, if she wouldn't share that with all of us, that is a substantiation for me. And she shared some other dreams with me the last couple of weeks too. But but that substantiates for me that what I saw and felt is real, that I'm not the only one experiencing these things. And that even if we're doing it in our dream state, well, remember you guys, our dream state is our multidimensional state. And when we wake up in the morning, we're having an experience in physical reality. So, so in that, with that idea, then we realize that by sharing these experiences with each other, even in these chats, we're helping each other expand and grow. And that it just substantiates for me that, oh, wow, that must be a thing then, that yes, that really confirms for me what I'm feeling. So I'm just wrapping my wings around me. So, you know, and something just as fun as having butterfly wings, you know, it's not like I walk around the house in butterfly wings, but it was just the idea of doing it for a hangout, but also having the butterfly wings to show people, to just have fun with, and to remind myself of being a butterfly and showing our true colors. And so, and for all of you for sharing all of your connections with each other. I love that you guys hang out in these YouTube chats. You make friends with each other. You're connecting with each other. Today is about connect, connect, and connect, and preparing yourselves for being more conscious creators, more intentional creators by using these tools, these artifacts, these oracle cards, by using this information to become more multidimensionally and aware, and to also then, as we were talked about earlier, to be able to connect with other aspects of ourselves, other beings. And so I was just kind of looking through the chat right now, just to see if there's anything else that I wanted to address. And Lisa says too, I definitely feel all the clairsenses coming online for me little by little. It's amazing and weird all in one. And yes, it is. It's, and I've talked about this before. If you guys, we talk about movies and stuff, and how it, how we relate to movies and the characters and things like that. And the movie Lucy, if you guys have never seen it, with Scarlett Johansson, she becomes this, you know, she's this ultra awareness. And that's what's happening to so many of us now. Literally, we're being able to hear things we couldn't hear before, see things, see colors, taste things, sense things. When Dave was talking about some ideas this morning, I could feel in my solar plexus, my heart chakra, the truths in what he was saying, because of the emotional response my body was having to the information I was receiving. So many times, many of us, especially with light languages, have an emotional response to this information, or say you're listening to a channeler, or say you're listening to Abraham Hicks or Bashar, or any of these other channelers. And I've got playlists filled with these other channelers because they were all part of my journey that helped activate me and helped activate my connections to the Syrians, the Arcturians, the Lyrans, the Sasani, the other aspects of myself, reminding myself of my connections to the goddess energies, to my decision to come here to Earth to bring angelic energy, to bring higher dimensional information, to share my passion, doing it scared, even though I was terrified. And even though nobody in my family at the time I started making videos even knew what was happening or what I was doing, or that I was speaking light languages, but it didn't prevent me from doing it. I was still putting myself out there, even though, because I understood on another level that I didn't need to hide, because if they're not looking for things like higher frequency information and channeling and light languages, they're not going to find me anyway. So what difference does it make? And now it doesn't matter, because the cat's out of the bag. I'm out of the proverbial closet, if you will, and my entire family knows about everything now. So start to finish. And so even when I met Dave, who, there was a lot of me even questioning that. I was like, are you sure you want to be a part of this fishbowl? This putting yourself out to the world, because it's not for everybody. But again, if it's something that you guys want to do and you want to come and explore and you want to share your experiences and your light languages and your whatever, maybe you want to share your experiences through things you learned from us on Fridays, or my channel, or maybe you also have ET experiences, or maybe you have experiences with animal collectives, or the god and goddess energy, or ancient Egypt, oh my gosh, or the King David, or any of that, Hebrew, Sanskrit, symbols. Are you drawing them? Are you? All of these things are all activations for all of us to embrace and explore and embody the divine God and goddess within us. And when we do that, when we connect to these energies, whether it's kings and queens, whether it's ancient wisdom, whether it's Egyptian, all of these things that we tap into are part of self-exploration. And the funny thing is we as humans are so afraid to learn more about ourselves. It's like, why would we be so afraid to find out more about ourselves? And that's really all that we're here to do, is help you guys be less afraid about finding more about yourselves, as we become less afraid about finding more about ourselves and sharing that with all of you. So it's like we never run out of stuff to talk about. And even the things that we plan, again, at the beginning of the week, end up changing immensely because of our experiences throughout the week and the things that we want to share with all of you. So this week was about Earth and her ascension, and I was reminded about what we talked about a little bit last week, and with respect to Earth Day, in that Earth is having her own ascension, creating multiple versions, an infinite number of versions of herself. And we are relatively, and this is from the idea of relativity, the actual relativity, the law of relativity, that relatively speaking, we're all moving with her on these different versions as we ascend with her together. We, as animals and peoples, humans, are moving with her as she ascends, we ascend, all of us raising our vibration together. In essence, then creating the vibrational version of the earth we all really, really want to hang out in together. So, in all the ways that we share to do that. So we appreciate it and love your interaction. We invite your interaction. We love that you guys hang out on YouTube. This is our family, your soul family, a way to meet your soul family, to discover your soul family in your own meditations, to discover your star families, to discover light languages, to activate. People say, how do I get activated in light languages? Listen to my videos, watch these channels, watch other people. Listening to it is how I got activated. And just one day I just said, I was in a hangout just like this, a live hangout, and the moderator, the host of this, the hangout said, well, Wendy, you've been here a little while. You've been observing, you've been quiet, you keep your camera off, your audio off. Is there anything you'd like to share today? And I just closed my eyes and I just said a little prayer. And I said, well, you know what, or not even a prayer. I just said, if there's any information, any energies or entities that wish to share information through me right now, whether it be in English or light language, I'd like to do that. I'd like to connect with you. And I just closed my eyes, and it wasn't that I tried, it was that I didn't try. I just said, okay, if there's anybody out there, and I wasn't afraid to fail. See, that was the thing. I was okay with the idea, if nothing comes out, that's okay. It's okay. If nothing comes out, it's okay. So I just said, if nothing comes out, that's okay, but I'm ready for more. And I'm telling you, all I did was close my eyes, and it just started, I just started speaking light languages right then and there in that moment. And then from that moment on, it was one after another of different dialects and information and languages. And then before I knew it, it was like a faucet. The birds start telling me stuff, and I talk to the lizards outside all the time here now. I talk to the birds and the flowers, and all of a sudden all of this, and then I would be on a walk in the woods, and all of a sudden I would hear, hello, we are the Yael. We have a message for you. Hello, I am Sentia from Sirius. Hello, we are the 11th, we are the Council of 11. We are the Council of 9. We are, all of a sudden, everybody wanted to talk to me. And then it's because I wanted it. I was so excited. And then one day I was just standing, I think I was getting dressed or brushing my hair one day. I was standing in front of the mirror in my dresser, and all of a sudden I heard, hello, we are the Lyran Syrian Council. We have a message for you. And boom, I went into like this, I just closed my eyes, and I went into like this meditation, and I literally stood there in the middle of the room with my eyes closed for what could have been probably 10, 15 minutes. And then I opened my eyes, and it was like, holy crap, what just happened to me? It was like I went somewhere. I looked at the clock. I knew that time had passed, and it was a very emotional, very interesting connection out of nowhere. So that's how that kind of stuff happens. Did you want to add anything to that before we go?
Happy Goddess Friday.
Happy Goddess Friday, everyone. So bring out the God and Goddess in all of you. Let this be your permission slip to be the peacock, the blue jay, to speak your truth, to show your true colors, to come and share your light with us, and to share your light with all that is, and to remind all of you that when the emissaries of the Light Collective came to me, they said, Mahala, the light within you illuminates the light within me, meaning me, the collective, and the light within me illuminates the light within you, illuminates the light within me, the light within me illuminates the light within you, and together we illuminate greater the light of all that is. And they said, and we mean this literally, it creates greater the light of all that is. It creates a lighter, I don't know, a lighter light. I don't know, that doesn't even make sense.
Well, more expansive.
Good. And Jody says she needed to hear that. And Lisa says, I talk to the animals all around all the time. Good, good. So thank you guys all for talking to each other, talking to us, sharing, activating each other. Woohoo! And Blue Star, 3.33 subscribers on my channel. So awesome. Thank you guys. 3,000.3. That's awesome. So that's wonderful. Thank you for pointing that out. 333. And that's one of our favorite numbers here, of course. Repeating numbers, 333. And that is the divine, the Trinity, the trinary. And my birth path number is 11. Dave's is 3. AJ's is 33. So there we go, guys. And remember, when you see those repeating numbers, stop. What are you thinking about? What message are you receiving? You're on your path of divineness. You're reminded that you're a god and a goddess.
And we were saying just yesterday about how the numbers that show up on the video views are not really going to reflect the amount of people and beings participating.
Exactly. And not only participating, but that we affect, all of you affect. And so I'm glad that you brought that up, because there's a lot of beings participating and watching us now that are not counted in these views at all. And that they're learning from us. We are teachers of them as teachers, and we're learning and teaching them. And that how many millions more we can affect, just you and I together, all of us individually, by going out into the world, we can affect millions more by being positive and just by showing up this way than the negative. And so remind yourselves of that the power that you have is really beyond your comprehensive ability to measure. So thank you for reminding me of all of us of that. So thank you all. We love you. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you all for being with us today and sharing your love and your light and walking in your divine goddessness. So we're going to go off today with light languages. We love you so much. Lazanate elako shomoshonatea. Sazonabasose. Salveta Echana Kayoto Somose Tayaka Anijada Sonoso Kayala. I love you guys. We're going to go off the air now. We love you so much and take good care.
Yes, see you next Friday.
See you guys next Friday. And come visit my Languages of Lights channel too. It's okay. We're gonna end our broadcast now. So thanks to all of you. And thank you all you subscribers. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you.